An autopsy is a noun defined as a post-mortem examination to discover the cause of death or the extent of disease. And today, on today's episode of Get Falcon Set, today we're going through the entire 2025 Falcon season and performing an autopsy. It's time to get Falcon Set.
This ain't no time to be afraid no more. It's time for bravery. No matter if my homies think I'm crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Get Falcon Set podcast, a special Wednesday episode. We had the Matt Ryan introductory press conference on Tuesday, so I'm gonna jump into that later on in the episode. So I wanted to make sure I listened to that fully, make sure I knew what was going on there before I came on here and talked to you guys about it. And it had to be in this episode, because if it wasn't, I was gonna have a lot of questions. So yeah, that's why this episode's coming out Wednesday. Next week we'll return back Tuesday, and we're going Tuesday straight from there. But I want to start off the show with one question, right? And I want y'all to give me your takes on this in the comment section, or tweet it to me, or put something on it. I'll probably put an Instagram thing up. Fill in the blank. The 2025 Falcons were a team that what, right? If you were to explain to somebody what the 2025 Falcons were, how are you explaining it to them? I kept mine very simple, right? I said that if you were to ask me what was this team, I'd say that this Falcons team was a team that surprised at times, but disappointed at most, right? And if you think about a lot of our games, that's actually really good, right? Because this is a team that got blown out by the Panthers, got blown out by the Dolphins, lost to the Jets, but on the other side, we beat two really good playoff teams, and the Bills, who are projected to make a run to make the Super Bowl, and then the Rams, who a lot of people thought that we probably were really high on them, but after the 2-game stretch between Seattle and the Falcons, we don't know what they are for real. And we know they just beat the Panthers last Saturday by 3, but we still really don't fully know what the Los Angeles Rams are, and that's where it's confusing to me, right? Because on one hand, this team was so good, and it was destined to be one of the great Falcons teams we've seen, right? I know I can speak for myself, a lot of my friends, we all believe the Falcons had a chance to do something special this year, right? We all believe that the NFC South was the weakest division in football. We all believe the Falcons, with their schedule, how it was looking, probably in the realm of 10 to 12 wins. And we all thought it was reasonable. We thought we had something with Michael Penix. After the last 3 games we started last season, we thought we had something good cooking there. Bijan, we all know how good Bijan is, how good Drake is. We were all still kind of a little iffy on Kyle Pitts. We thought Robert McLeod and Donald Mooney were going to be great complementary pieces for Drake London. We knew that the pass rush was gotten better. We knew that we had gotten a couple more pieces in the secondary with Billy Bowman and Xavier Watts. And we thought we were solid at kicker with Younghoe Koo. So, it's not like it was an unreasonable belief we had in the preseason, right? Because when you look at all those pieces, you look at the games that we were in, right? We had beaten the brakes off of the Giants at home. We had kept it close with the Commanders, who made the NFC Championship game last year. And then we had lost to the Panthers in overtime because Raheem Morris didn't know how to use timeouts properly, right? And if Raheem used timeouts properly in the Commanders game, who knows? Maybe we're in the playoffs last season. Who knows? We will never know because of what Raheem Morris did. But yeah, I think we were all really high on the team. But I do believe that where that belief of us being a good team cracked really early on in the year, right? With all the special teams errors that we had. We're looking at games like the Bucks. We're looking at games like the Colts, the Patriots. We're looking at games like the Seahawks, where you can point to very obvious points in that game that became turning points that were lost because of the special teams, right? You think in Bucks game, it's because of the Younghoe Koo missed field goal to tie the game, send it to overtime, right? You look at the Patriots game, it's the Parker Romo missed extra point, right? I don't fully remember the Colts game, if I'm being 100% honest, because I was working that game. I didn't go back. I haven't enough time to go back and watch it fully. But the Seahawks game, I mean, we're all looking at the kick return touchdown. Even that second Panthers game, the Natron Brooks fumble. So I think that special teams is the one thing that like really hurt us this year, right? I don't think it was the offense, as mediocre as they were, as stagnant as they were. It's not their fault, right? And as good as the defense was at times, and it probably, you can look at inconsistent, is probably the right word there. As inconsistent as that defense also was, I mean, the special teams really hurt us. Because I'm thinking, if you flip the results of those 5 games, if you flip one of the results, we're in the playoffs. Because we're the lone 9-8 team in the division. We win it. So, it definitely hurts to know that we were that close. Know that we had a chance to do something that hadn't been done in Atlanta since 2017. But now let's go to the next question I have here. I have like a list of questions I want to answer, like little topics I want to get through. So we're just gonna keep going through them. The next little part of this is, who were the 2025 Falcons, right? And this was a very, very hard question for me to answer. Because on the offensive side of the ball, you know the two guys that really stood out, right? It was Drake London and Bijan Robinson, right? Bijan Robinson, he made the All-Pro running back first team, and then All-Pro second team all-purpose yards. And then Drake London, I think he was on pace for 1,000 yards, if not more, if he actually played the full season. He didn't get hurt part of the way through. I mean, 7 touchdowns, 900 yards. Yeah, Drake, we all know how good Bijan and Drake are, and that was pretty much our offense for most of the year. I mean, I remember seeing a stat on one of the games. It was like Bijan and Drake combined for like 66% or so of our total offensive output, which is insane to think about coming from just 2 guys. But that's a testament to just how good Bijan Robinson and Drake London are. Those are 2 guys that can really take over a game. We've seen Bijan do it multiple times before. We saw him do it in the Rams game. We saw him do it in the Bills game. Right? We know how good Bijan is. We know how good Drake is. Those 2 guys can just completely take over a game. But also on the flip side, on the defense side of the ball, we got a couple picks. We got a lot of sacks. It was fun to watch the defense. It was really fun to watch the defense. And that's me speaking from someone who has seen the bad defense of the Atlanta Falcons, right? Because I remember back when we were we had 6 sacks, or like 7 sacks throughout like the first 8 games of 2019. I remember that. And to see this team this past season with, let me see, 57 sacks, the most in franchise history, it's insane. And then we also had a good amount of interceptions. We ended up with 16 interceptions. That spread throughout, like Jesse Bates, Billy Bowman got one earlier in the year, Xavier Watts. We know we had D. Alfred get a couple. So I think the defense is like, it's an anomaly. The defense is weird because on one hand you have a defense that can really get the ball back, right? They can get the turnovers when they need to. They can put the quarterback on the ground, right? Which is putting the quarterback on the ground, something we've like been really wanting from an Atlanta Falcons defense for years. But on the other hand, like, there were games where we given up 500 to the Colts, almost 500 to the Panthers. Like, it's an average defense with the makings that could something great, right? I think Jeff Ulbrich really got the most that he could out of this defense, and I know it's not my say. I know none of us have like a real say in what goes on here, but I really hope that whatever head coach comes in, they really like consider keeping Jeff Ulbrich as the defense coordinator, because I do think that he is the best way for this defense to succeed. It doesn't matter who, if you get a defensive minded head coach, whatever, offensive minded, whatever. Get me Jeff Ulbrich back on this defense, because they have a lot of unfinished business to do when it comes to the defense, right? In high leverage situations, I thought we played pretty good. There wasn't too much that like, there wasn't too many bad moments where we were like, what the hell is we're even doing, right? There were a couple of them for sure, but there wasn't too many of them, right? We know last year he had the issues not using his timeouts properly, wasting a bunch of time. I'm thinking back to the Commanders and the Panthers game, end of the half, end of the game. He has a chance to go down the field, score, and he just decides, I'm going to take this to overtime, or I'm going to settle for this 60-yard field goal from a kicker that we haven't heard of. But I mean, we were 5-5 with one-score games. Those one-score games, it was the Tampa loss, the Commanders win, the Patriots loss, Colts loss, Panthers loss, Jets loss, Bucks win, Cardinals win, Rams win, Saints win. I think I miscounted actually when I first counted it, because that's one. No, I'm right. 5-5 in one-score games, which I mean, for how we've done it before, how we've played football before, like how I've seen this Falcons team play, that's actually pretty decent. It's not horrible, but it's not great. Because I mean, let's be honest, the Atlanta Falcons have passed. We're probably losing about 7 or 8 of these games, right? So to know that we won 5 of them against pretty good teams. I mean, we won 5 of these games. I mean, I'm thinking the Rams, great team. And then to know that we kept it competitive with some of the better teams in the league. I mean, I'm talking like the Patriots, who are the 2 seed in the AFC. I'm talking the Colts, who at the time were the top seed in the AFC. I'm talking the Panthers, who just made the playoffs. I mean, we are keeping it competitive. We've been keeping it competitive all year. So, I mean, I definitely liked it. When it came to discipline, right? Before I get to the topic of talking about the discipline, can we please do something to get Elijah Wilkinson off the roster? I cannot do it another year with Elijah Wilkinson. I need to go see if I can find the exact stats, but Elijah Wilkinson had the 5th most penalties called on him in the NFL. 9 false starts, 2 holdings. That's 11 penalties. You can't do that. Like, and I know that he's not supposed to be the starter. It was supposed to be Kaleb McGary, and then he got hurt, and that's cool. But that's just a discipline thing, right? I mean, we had 205 penalties. I think we were one of the middle of the pack when it came to penalties in the NFL. So I mean, it's not horrible, it's not great, it's just average. And that's all I can really say on that. I mean, I don't remember if there was like any like egregious penalties that lost us games. I think it was like all pretty much just like, oh hey, here's a pass interference that gives them a first down to give them 20 yards. But like nothing like a pass interference with 5 seconds left to put them in field goal range, right? Nothing serious like that. So I mean, I'll definitely take it every single day of the week. But now I kind of want to focus in on the offensive side of the ball, right? And quick sidebar. Later on in the offseason, probably after we end up hiring the head coach, maybe after the Super Bowl, I'm going to go through the entire offense, the entire defense, and break both of those sides of the ball down. Just in a way of like, hey, here's what we have, here's what we need to do in the offseason. But, I mean, this is kind of like a preview of that, right? So we can sit here and talk. I think another story thing when you look at the 2025 Falcons offense is going to be their quarterback situation, right? Because we knew what ended up happening coming into last season, right? You pay Kirk Cousins $180 million, and then you go out and draft Michael Penix, 8th overall. And I mean, Terry Fontenot and company had a great idea, right? They said that we need to hurry up and like get what we like. We need to have our plan in place for the future, right? You have Kirk Cousins to win now, and then Michael Penix to win in the future, right? Michael Penix in his career, right? I still firmly believe Michael Penix, right? And I don't think it's fair to count him out yet, right? He's only played 14 games. He started 12 of them, right? Me and my boy Michael were talking about it, I think last week or early this week. I want you guys to look up Bo Nix in his first 12 starts. Look up Bo Nix first 12 starts. Look at Michael Penix first 12 starts. And you're gonna see that like he's Michael Penix still has a lot to develop, right? He still has a lot to learn, right? He's coming off the ACL injury. Matt Ryan talked about it at his press conference today. His rehab is going good. And then he also has Matt Ryan in the building to help him, right? To help him develop more. And I think that's really big. But when it came to this year, we saw it too many times where Penix was playing scared, or he wasn't playing like we want him to, right? We know that he is a guy who is willing to just sling the ball up and down the field. And at times we didn't see that from Michael Penix. I mean, I'm looking at the game right here, the Vikings game, 108 passing yards. The Colts game, 150. I mean, like, Michael Penix is someone he should never be scared to just come out and just sling the ball up and down the field, because that's how he plays. He's a gunslinging quarterback. He's supposed to be a gunslinger. He might not be the most accurate inside the numbers, but that's something you can teach. That's something you can teach. You could teach accuracy, right? And I'd much rather have him than someone like a Kirk Cousins right now. We're paying him $108 million. We just restricted his contract, but we're paying him $100 million to just play average football. Like, we're not going to sit here and act like Kirk Cousins was playing out of his mind in the starts he had. I'm looking at his stats right now. He 181, 222, 154. He had one game of 365, and then he went 190, 126, and 159. Can you credit some of that to Drake London being out? Of course you can. That's how it works, right? When your star receiver's out, your numbers are going to take a dive. That's how that happens. But the inconsistency of the offense is what the issue is, and it all started with the quarterback. I mean, when it came to the scheme, you can tell that we had built this offense for Kirk Cousins and not for Michael Penix. I'm not sure what happened, but it almost feels like Michael Penix, you know what it feels like? You know, in draft day when Bo Callahan slid and teams are panicking, they're like, we need to one of two things. We need to go draft him, go get our guy, go get this quarterback that we know might be the future, or we could take what we know we have. And that's what it felt like with Michael Penix. It felt like Michael Penix dropped, and then we saw him. We need to jump on this because we're not going to be picking this guy again. This is a talent that we really want. Let's go get him. That's what it felt like. It felt like this team was built for Kirk Cousins, right? And you could see it like in the whenever Kirk came in to start, the offense, whenever he was the full-time starter, the offense seemed to hum a little differently with Kirk Cousins than Michael Penix. I don't think there's anything wrong on Michael Penix's end. I just think that's a testament to how the franchise built the team around Kirk Cousins and not Michael Penix. And it's not not like Penix, one of those quarterbacks where you can just drop him into any system and he's gonna work flawlessly. I mean, Michael Penix is a guy who he has the strengths, and you need to tailor the team to the strengths. And I don't think the Falcons did that, especially not Zach Robinson. Luckily, I think he is done as the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator. Kyle Pitts had a sneakily, no, I'm not giving it to Kyle Pitts. No, I'm not gonna give it to him. I am not gonna give it to him. I can't. It won't let me, like, on Pro Football Reference. It won't let me, like, Oh, yeah, I can. Okay, I was on the wrong menu. Um, yeah, we're not gonna act like he was having a great season the whole year. I mean, uh, 2 catches for 14 yards, 3 for 18. I'm seeing 4 for 38. I'm seeing 2 for 16. But I mean, he didn't play horrible. He played he played decent, right? He didn't play like the fourth overall pick. He didn't play like Matt Ryan was throwing the ball. He played different, right? And I think that's one of the big questions we have to answer this offseason is how are we going to handle the Kyle Pitts situation? Um, are you going to franchise him and pay him market value for him? Or are you going to let him walk? Are you going to try to re-sign him to a 1-year prove yourself deal? What are you going to do there? And then you have that same question with Tyler Algier. I mean, yeah, Tyler Algier is great, but he's gonna want to be the number one wherever he goes. He's gonna want to be number one, and he's just not gonna get that opportunity here, right? But he's good enough to be the one option anywhere, like mostly anywhere he goes in the NFL. So I'm interested to see what happens with Tyler Algier this offseason, right? That's one of the stars I'm gonna keep my eye on. But Mooney, we know he was dealing with a collarbone issue most of the early on in the year. Once he got fixed and Kirk Cousins was his quarterback, everything seemed to click. And then David Sill, same thing. He had a huge catch on that. I don't remember if it was 3rd and 28 or 4th and 14 he converted on. But he had a great catch there. I feel like we saw a lot of development, right? We saw Drake London develop a lot more because we all saw how great Drake was with Penix. We saw how good Bijan is. He watched him develop. I think Kyle Pitts did go up in his development, granted. But I don't think Penix developed that much. I do think that Zach Robinson was holding him down from what he really can be in the NFL, and I do think that whoever we bring in next, whether bringing an offensive-minded head coach or like a really good offensive mind and an offensive coordinator like a Mike McDaniel or something along those lines, he's going to help elevate Michael Penix to the status that we know he can be at. But yeah, so now let's go to the defense side of the ball. And then I talked about it earlier. 57 sacks. 57 sacks. If you were to tell any Falcons fan before the year started that this defense was going to get 57 sacks and set the franchise record for most sacks in a season, we would have looked at you sideways and thought we were going all the way. Because that doesn't happen in Atlanta, right? We haven't had a great pass rush like this since 2016, if you want to count Vic Beasley 15.5 sacks. So yeah, the pass rush was great. The rushing defense was mediocre at best. I mean, we were top 10 in yards allowed, like bottom 10. We were a bottom 10 in the NFL in yards allowed. Offenses got a total of like 2,100 yards on us all season. I mean, it's not great from the interior defensive line side of things. That's one of the things where I know Grady got big money, but man, if we could have kept him for one more year, this defense would have been something scary. But yeah, so I think that's one of the things you have to address going into 2026 is the interior defensive line, especially. Where's my free agent list here? Something you have to address, especially with David Onyemata, Caden Ellis, Sam Roberts, Contavious Street, Laquel London, with all those guys going on the free agent market this year, that's something you have to address. We were average in the red zone, and then we were 12th in explosive plays allowed. Explosive plays, if you don't know, that is passing plays over 20 yards and rushing plays over 10 yards. So we were 12th in that category, which isn't horrible. It's not great. It's literally just average. But the main thing I'm going to talk about was the leadership, the coaching, the leadership, the direction. Um, I did see better clock management from Raheem Morris, and that's one of the reasons why I thought that we could keep him around for one more year. But my biggest gripe was with the offense, the offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson. It seemed like at times he didn't fully know what he was doing. It seemed like he didn't make adjustments that were needed. So I'm happy that Zach Robinson should not be the offensive coordinator going into next season. I can't say I'm particularly excited or happy about Raheem Morris getting fired. And then one of the questions that I had on here was, what is our culture, right? And I don't think we have a culture. We can't have a culture without a head coach. We can't have a coach without a general manager, right? As much as I want to say, oh, we have a winning culture, right? Right now we have a losing culture, right? This is what? Oh, shit, now I got to do math. 9 straight losing seasons for the Atlanta Falcons? Right now we are a losing culture, and we've been a losing culture for years. This is a culture that goes all the way back to 1966. Right? We've only won the division, 4 times? How many times have we made it out the first round? You don't know, and it's not a lot. So, yeah, right now we're still losing culture, right? But I do think that right now we have the chance to turn it around, right? Arthur Blank, he really wants to have a winning culture, right? That's why he's made the moves he did. That's why he pulled the trigger on Raheem Morris. He pulled the trigger on Rich McKay. He pulled the trigger on Terry Fontenot, right? He's getting people in the building that know how to win. And you know who does know how to win? The new president of football in Matt Ryan. Before I go to the next thing I have on here, let's talk about Matt Ryan for a second. We all know who Matt Ryan is, right? 40,000 passing yards, best quarterback in Falcons history, best player in Falcons history. That number's getting retired. He's the GOAT Atlanta Falcon, right? We can all pretty much agree on that, right? His job coming in here, his main job is going to be to hire the head coach and the GM, right? And then after he does that, after we get those guys hired, get them situated, he is basically a consultant, right? He doesn't have the final say on he has the final say, but he's going to allow the head coach and the GM to make those decisions, right? Whatever decisions they want to make, Matt Ryan will allow them to. He can put his input in, he can suggest things, but at the end of the day, that's not what he's here to do, right? But he's also going to be here to help out in other areas, right? In every area that has to do with the football field and the football and playing the game, right? So I do expect him to get some work in with Michael Penix. So if Penix looks completely different come his time to come back in the game, I think that'll be thanks to Matt Ryan. But I do think Matt Ryan is perfect for this job right here. I think that this is perfect for Matt Ryan. And along with the rest of Dirty Bird Nation, welcome home, Matt. Happy to have you back, and I can't wait to see what you do. Okay. So here I have 3 separate moments from the season. Right? I have one game, one stretch of games, one game, and one decision. Right? These are where our season turned around, right? What was the turning points in our season? When it came to the stretch, I don't think it's hard to say. How about the stretch we went 1-7 in the middle of the year, right? We're 3-2. We just come off beat the Bills. We lose to the Niners, lose to the Dolphins, lose to the Patriots, lose to the Colts, lose to the Panthers, lose to the Jets, lose to the Seahawks. We ended up beating the Saints in the middle of that. But, we went from 3-2 to 4-9 after that Seahawks loss. So, that's a pretty big turning point if you ask me, right? We We were on our way to winning the division. We were on our way to outrunning the South. The mantra of our team, the mantra of Raheem Morris, outrun the South. That's the thing we had been preaching forever. And we didn't. We didn't. The South outran us. As sad as it is. The one game I had on Turning Point was the Falcons versus Patriots game on November 2nd. I'm not sure if you all remember it, but Drake London, 3 touchdowns. Michael Penix, no interception. We know we had 3 touchdowns, but it was the missed PAT from Parker Romo with 4:40 left that I think changed the trajectory of the season. Right? I think he makes. I'm still a firm believer that if he makes that kick, we win this football game. I'm still a firm believer of that, but we will never know. And I think that the decision that kind of flipped the season around was the decision to not fire Maurice Williams, the special teams coordinator, right? I said it earlier on in the show. Special teams had killed us all year long. All year long. And the decision to not move on from the guy who's supposed to be overseeing it and making sure nothing bad happens on the special team side is a decision I think that will haunt the Atlanta Falcons. That'll be like the one dark cloud above the Atlanta Falcons in 2025. But this is what we've learned from this season, right? We have some dogs on this roster, right? I'm talking Jalen Walker, JPJ, Xavier Watts, Billy Bowman when he was healthy, Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell on the defense side of the ball. When it comes to the offense side of the ball, we know we have Penix. Well, no, we don't know he's a dog yet. Bijan, Drake. We all know Chris Lynch's a dog. We have the pieces necessary to win. We need to fill out the rest, right? We need to get a head coach and general manager that see the game the same way, see they're eye to eye, they're locked in. I do believe that we will have a head coach next week. And that's my decision. That's my take. I think we'll have a head coach not by the next show, but by definitely the 27th. We will definitely have another head coach and a GM, and we'll be here talking about it in 2 weeks. I think when it comes to building the offense, I think the defense is going to be fine, right? I think you have to get a couple more interior defensive linemen. You have to figure out what you're going to do to replace Caden Ellis, get some more linebackers. I think go re-sign D. Alford. He played really good this year. That's really funny coming from someone who was public enemy number 1 when it comes to Falcons fans. But yeah, go re-sign D. Alford. And I think your defense is fine. I think you need to build the offense around Michael Penix, Bijan Robinson, and Drake London, right? If you build it around those 3 guys, I think this offense can be really, really fun to watch because we know Michael Penix is happy to sling the ball down the field, and we know how special Bijan and Drake are in terms of catching and running the ball. Yeah, I think definitely you have to work out a Drake London extension this offseason. Because I think this year he's playing on his 5th year option, I want to say, this upcoming year. So you need to figure out an extension for Drake London before you lose him. You need to, I think, rebuild your linebacker room, your tight end room, definitely your quarterback. We got to figure out what we're going to do at quarterback. Because when we restructured, whoa, okay, words are hard to come by right now. Holy hell. When we restructured Kirk Cousins' contract, we all knew what that meant. We all knew that meant he's not going to be quarterback in 2026. But if you answer that question, now you have to answer the question, okay, if not Kirk, then who? We all know Penix probably won't be able to go week 1. So we have to figure out somebody to give the keys to for at least first couple of weeks. But I think you need to prioritize re-signing Caden Ellis and D. Alford. And then once you do that, the sky's the limit for this franchise, right? I still firmly believe we are supposed to be getting new uniforms. Those will be announced in April. And I think that's all I have, really. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Right? When it comes to the Atlanta Falcons, right? I know it's been really easy to just completely give up on this, right? Give no hope, right? You have no hope in this franchise, right? This franchise they've lost for years. They've lost for 60 years. What's another 60, right? Arthur Blank, more than anything, wants to bring a Super Bowl to Atlanta. And I think that's important. If you have the right ownership, if you have the right people behind the team, then you can do something special. And I think that over the next couple of years, especially with Matt Ryan as the new president of football, we have the opportunity to do something special. That's all I got for today, guys. If you guys like it, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on post notices. I'm still learning out this podcast thing, man. I'm still figuring it out. We're gonna get it right together. I don't know what I'm gonna do next week. I have an idea, but I might switch it up depending on how everything goes. But hey, only next week will tell, right? This has been Get Falcon Said. I've been James. Might not be James tomorrow, so we gotta see. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next week with another episode. Peace.